Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to do a piece that has scale changes which create space. So I've done a Google search here. I searched for a teacup. Um, so let's change that for a second. Let's say teapot and see what we get. So underneath here where it says images, which I've selected, so I did it again, you'll notice that I've got this button over here that says tools. When you do your search, this will be here, but these things won't. I've clicked on tools, and when I do click on tools, it's going to ask me, do I want to pick a teacup by size? In which case it'll give me any size, or color or type or time. So other versions there. And since I'm going to use this in a Photoshop document that I might print, I do want to pick size, and I want to say that I want large images. And that'll filter my images so that now I can start to look at this and see that it's going to be, if I hover over it, in the thousands. And that'll give me a large enough image that if I play around with it, it won't become too pixelated when I go to print it. But I already did that. So I'm going to go into Photoshop, and you can see that I've picked a teacup here. That's very basic, very simple. I also went in and picked out a background. That's just a sky that's on there. And that one also was a larger search so that I know I've got a pretty decent size background. But let's go up and check just how big. So if I go to image, I can go to my image size and I can find out about the size. It's 16 inches by 12 inches. It's got a resolution of 72, which is fine for anything on the screen. When I print, I probably want to see that closer to 300. And I could change that here, but I'm not going to worry about that for this demo. So I'm just going to say, okay, now I know what size image I've got. I'm going to go back to my teacup, and I want to do the same thing here. I want to say, well, how big of a teacup do I have? And you can see that my teacup is 8 inches by 8 inches, and that those two dimensions are locked. So I'm going to say, well, let's make it a little smaller, because remember, my first background image was 16 inches. So 4 inches would make this 1/4 the size of my background. So I'm going to click OK there, and you see it makes it a little bit smaller. I've got the teacup here, and I want to put it on that sky background, but I want to get rid of all this white area that's around it. Now, we've done another video where we talked about selecting things. So I could go up and go to my select drop down, and I could select by color range or subject or something like that. But I also want to show you this new tool that's on Photoshop that's called the Object Selection Tool, Control W. Um, and you can see it does a little demo for me, so I'm going to give it a try. I'm just going to click outside of my object and draw a box around that object. It's going to think a little bit, and then it grabs that object for me. So that's a really great new tool. Oops, I'm going to have to do it again. I think I got it. Yep, I got it. Oh, looks like I missed a little bit here and there. So why don't we do that one more time? Be a little bit more generous this time and see if it gets it a little bit better. Yeah, that's going to look a little bit better. Now that I've got that, I could go up to Edit, and I could copy that image, or Control C, and then I can go over to my background, which is up on the top bar, and I can go back to Edit, and I can go Paste, or Control V. There, now I've got my teacup. Looks like I got a little extra here that I don't want, but I could erase that out. And it looks like I missed a little bit over here again. So I probably wanted to do a little bit better job selecting, and you can watch the video on how to fine tune your selections there. But for the sake of this video, I want to talk about scale. So high school artists have a tendency to do work very similar to what I already have here right now. They have an object and they have a background. But we can create a sense of space by adding to that foreground and background concept. And one way we can do that is by changing scale. We can do it with overlapping. We can do it by going outside of the picture plane as well. But today I'm just going to play with scale and see if I can't get a little bit more space in here. So I've got this big teacup. What I want to do is I want to select it again. Notice that down here I've got my layer bar open and I've got the teacup layer on top of everything. If I wanted to check what layer I was on, I could check for the color there, or I could poke out the eyeball of that layer and see what's there. And by doing so, I would see what disappears and know what I've got. I'm going to select this again. I'm using my handy dandy object select. I got it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to edit, and I'm going to go to, I'm sorry. Oh, yes, no, I'm in the right spot. I'm going to go to transform. When I go to transform, we've talked about this before. I can do things like change scale, rotate, skew, distort, or put things into perspective. Today I'm going to use the scale um, option. So I'm going to click on scale, and it's going to give me this box. And as you can imagine, now I can drag this thing down, make it smaller so that it fits in there. And now it's in like one position. And if I want to accept that change, I simply hit enter on my keyboard, and you can see the box is gone. So it's gone at that point. There's a little trace of it up here, which is kind of interesting that it didn't quite get it all this time. But that just goes to show you that, when you're doing your selecting, you want to be careful about it. But if I went back up to edit and I did copy that, then I could go ahead and I could go Control V, and I could paste another one and another one and another one and another one. They're all getting pasted in the same spot, but you can see I've got a whole bunch of layers now. So I could grab, oops, edit undo, Control Z. I could grab with this move tool one and put it wherever I want. So I can start dragging some of these guys so that they're floating in space, but that they're in different spaces. Okay? If I wanted to fine tune this even more, I could have this one that's lower be a little bit larger and this one that's up higher be a little bit smaller. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to one of them. Let's pick that one. And I'm going to do my object select again. I've got it. Then I'm going to do my transforming again. Going up to scale. I'm going to make a smaller version of that. And as you can see, now these cups appear to be closer to me than this little cup that's there. Accept the changes by hitting enter. And then let's go ahead and copy that. So edit, copy, Control C, and let's paste it again. So Control V. I've got a bunch of them. Well, it looks like I missed some of the stuff that was behind there. If I grab my move tool now, I can come in, I can put this guy back here, this guy over here, this guy over here. And you can see now I'm starting to get these layers of space where these ones that are smaller, that are in front, look like they're closer to me. The ones that are smaller in back look like they're further away. Now I got to do a little bit better job with my cutting and copying, obviously. But I'm starting to get that sense of space. Let's do it one more time. So back again to my object select, and let's pick a whole cup this time. So I'm going to pick this guy. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Oh, I got to figure out which layer that is. So let's move me out of the way. Let's slide down. Pick one. See which one disappears. Nothing's disappearing there yet. Let's go a little further down. See this one. What about this one? That's that layer. Go up a smidge. Sorry, guys. There. Okay. Let's go up one more. See which one disappears now. Maybe one more. I want to get a whole cup this time. Almost. What about this one? You know what? We'll get rid of that layer because I don't like that extra stuff there. What about this one? All right, good enough. I know which one it is, so I'm going to grab him. And he's incomplete. But I'm going to copy him. Control C. And I'm going to go up to Edit, paste him, Control. There he is. I'm going to scale him, transform, scale. I'm going to make him still smaller. Let's move him up high. Oh, he's floating way back there. And let's paste a couple more. I'm going to have to scale those guys too. But you start to get the idea. It's just a little bit of transforming the scale. I can get a sense of deeper space in this piece. So your goal is going to be to make a piece using these materials, Photoshop, or other materials that has a sense of deep space. Got one issue here before I let you go. I can see that this small one is overlapping this big one, which is altering that sense of the deep space that's there. If I just move it out of the way, then I have a better sense of these things moving back in the space. All right, enough for now. I'm going to stop. Bye.